Hello, everybody. I'm Laura Rekilä from Piste Kollektiivi, and I'm right now sitting in Rovaniemi, Finland, in north of Finland, in Piste Kollektiivi's own art space. And today here with me will be joining our theater artist and drama instructor Hanna-Leena Metsävainio and Milka Jafri, who was our other project coordinator, will join us from Stockholm, where she's now working and living. And we also have here in our studio our technician Lauri, who is doing the sound and the picture and connecting us all to you. We were also we had planned that Eeva-Leena Väätäjä, who was a visiting artist in our residency, would also be here with us. Eeva-Leena is from Kalix in Sweden, but because of the global pandemic and Corona, we had to cancel Eeva-Leena's visit to Rovaniemi. So she has sent us a short video greeting, and we posted the video greeting already on this conference event Facebook page. And we hope you will see her greetings there later. And also we were meant to have a greeting from the staff of Niittyvilla, which is the place where Piste Kollektiivi did the residency tryout. But because of Corona and because it's a very small unit and a small municipality, they were also way too booked to prepare something for us. But they said, please share our feedback and tell everybody that it was fun, wonderful. that was what they said. So it was wonderful, and that's a spoiler about our residency tryout results. But yes, I'm working in Piste since 2018, and I started as a project coordinator and producer. And one of my first projects was the Wellbeing Residency Think Tank, which the group already started 3 years ago, like Janis said. And we got funding from Nordic Culture Point, and that funding was managed by Piste. And we had 5 think tanks during the first phase of the project. We were talking with Latvian, Russian, and Swedish partner and discussing how to make this type of well-being residency. And this has been a long-term goal of Piste. We have always had local and small projects with social and healthcare sector. We have had workshops, events, things like that. Our artists are also art educators, so they are familiar with this theme, but it has always been maybe one visit here, one visit there, and we have been working at Piste towards a long project that we could really put our hands into something concrete and really work with this team and use time and resources and get to know the groups we work with. So this project has been really a goal for us, and it was really nice to start it. And now in 2019 to proceed to phase 2 and the tryouts, which Latvia has coordinated. And we got the funding from the Council of the Baltic Sea States for these tryouts. And immediately when Piste found out in 2018 that, okay, Latvia has now gained us the funding for the residency tryout, we also started to find out about how we could get national funding for our tryout. And already 2 years ago, in October 2018, we have prepared our own applications for funding for the residency tryout. And we got funding from Taike, which is the National Arts Promotion Center, and we got money from the Finnish Cultural Fund. So all our funding was done and applied for 1 year before the residency in 2018. And in 2019, January, we got the decisions that we have received the funding. And so we had the international funding and 2 national fundings, and we were able to start planning our residency tryout with the social and healthcare sector. And we knew who would do the residency from Piste part. We had Hanna-Leena who has been working with disabled people and special groups for a long time. So we knew she would be our artist for the tryout, and I would be the coordinator, but we would need a second artist to work with Hanna-Leena and the group. And we would also need another coordinator, and we would also need a place where to do the tryout. And we had a place for the tryout, our long-term cooperation partner in Ranua, a small town near Rovaniemi. So the artist and the contact was made well in advance. So what happened next? I would like to give the speaking turn to Milka, who is now joining us from Stockholm, and she can explain to you how we recruited the artist and what happened after funding decisions were received. So Milka, you are welcome.
Right, thank you so much, Laura. Nice to see you all. As Laura mentioned, I'm now based in Stockholm, but last year I was working in Luleå in the north of Sweden. And while I was working with Piste and the project in Finland, I was actually sharing offices with Hanna Isaksson, who is the project manager of the Swedish project. So we had some obvious benefits there. It was very easy to collaborate with both the Swedish project and the Finnish because of this practical arrangement. So yeah, I started working with the project as a second coordinator roughly 6 months before the residency took place. And yeah, I was taking care of the recruiting process of the visiting artist, taking care of some practicalities, contracts, permits, accommodation questions. And we organized a few meetings with the project group, both in Finland and in Sweden, which was really important for the planning process. At some point in the spring, quite early on after I had started, we had a planning meeting in Rovaniemi together with Laura and Hanna-Leena, the local artist, and us two coordinators to create a proper timeline for the residency. What is it that needs to be done and when? And this timeline worked as a type of a backbone for us, I would say, during the whole planning process. And of course, it was important for us to do a proper work distribution and distribution of responsibilities because we were two coordinators. But I think we both found it a successful arrangement in all possible ways, really. Yes, I would like to say a few words about the recruitment of the visiting artist. It was quite a time-consuming process, actually, but we were really happy that we put all the time and effort in the process because we were very happy with the end result, as you can see later on. We were looking for someone who is a trained professional artist living in the region of Norrbotten. Due to the proximity of the northern parts of Finland, it would have been practically very difficult to recruit an artist from somewhere else in Sweden because of travel questions. We wanted someone who had a multidisciplinary focus. We did not have a particular requirement about the artist having to work in a particular field of arts. And it was more important to focus on the will to collaborate with others. Of course, that was extremely important because we were first and foremost looking for a partner for Hanna-Leena and someone who had a strong motivation to work with adults with general learning disabilities. Pedagogical know-how was also important. And with these quite specific requirements that we had, of course, there is not a huge amount of people living in Norrbotten. And so it was a big question for us. How do we find a suitable person for this very specific project? And as I mentioned, we were quite lucky with the person that we found. And there was also the question of the language, which I want to mention shortly, because we had quite long discussions about this, whether we should try and find someone who is able to understand Finnish, or if it's okay with someone who does not understand Finnish. And in case it's a Swedish speaker, how will we solve the question of communications in this kind of an institution? And I think the staff of Niittyvilla, they were a little bit apprehensive about this topic, like, okay, if we get someone who is a Swedish speaker, how will it work out on the daily as a part of our daily work to have someone who doesn't understand our language and whom we are not so familiar. The staff members were not that familiar with the Swedish language, so there were a lot of questions around this. And we were quite excited to experiment on this, like see what happens and how do we solve all these issues if there will be any issues. But in the end, both our two top candidates of the visiting artist were actually fluent Finnish speakers. So in the end, we did not have to, or we did not get to experiment on this language question. After we had recruited Eeva-Leena, who, as Laura mentioned, her introduction can be found on Facebook, and Hanna-Leena will certainly tell a little bit more about Eeva-Leena in a minute. But quite soon after we had recruited her, we had a meeting together with the artists and myself in Luleå to start planning the residency more on practical terms and more in artistic terms, of course. We introduced the unit to Eeva-Leena and talked about the specifics of the unit and the customers and their habits and all of this. And it was a great pleasure for me to see when the artists met in person for the first time, how their interaction started and how the creative process started almost immediately after they had got into the same space. And it was a very exciting time to see the start of the residency. And I think at this point I would like to pass the word back to Rovaniemi and let Hanna-Leena start talking about what happened actually during the residency, how was the artistic side, and what did you accomplish. Thanks from my part for now.
Thank you, Milka. Yes, here with me is now Hanna-Leena. So could you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yes, of course. I'm Hanna-Leena Metsävainio, and I'm a drama instructor. So basically, I'm doing drama, acting, directing, teaching, and then community art. It has been the really important part for me in my art, like in last 5 years, I would say. And I'm as well member of Piste Kollektiivi as an artist member, and living in Rovaniemi, and
And you have a small child.
Yes,
also.
yes, I do. Yeah.
And today is her birthday, so happy birthday, Hanna-Leena. Yeah. Last year you worked in our residency tryout, and you worked with another artist, Eeva-Leena.
Yes, I worked with Eeva-Leena, really lovely lady from Kalix, Sweden. And when we met, we had really, really good connection. Eeva-Leena is a visual artist, and there is a picture of Eeva-Leena as well, as you can see. Kalix, Sweden, and immediately, as Milka said, we had really good contact, and we got a lot of ideas, even though we have a quite big gap between our age, but we were on the same mental level. Yes. I could say it was really, really nice, and it was nice to know her, and we have been still keeping on contact with Eeva-Leena after the residence.
That's great. And you found a language to communicate with each other, so you were speaking.
Yeah, we were
the artists communicating in Finnish.
Yeah, yes. We did that. At first, for me, I was a bit afraid, like how it's going to be with another language, with the mixing of English and Swedish, and with the stuff, and with our members of the residence. So I was a bit afraid, but in the end, when we got Eeva-Leena, we had the same language. It was really, really good decision.
Yes. why did you want to work in this type of residence? It's not a typical artist in residence thing to do.
Well, I have been interested in this community art, so for me it's really and I'm theater artist, so group and people, they are interested in my point of view. And this residence, I never have been interested in this kind of normal residencies, like doing art by myself.
Yeah,
that's not so interesting. I want this group and I want people around me, so it was easy to say yes for that residence. And of course, because I have a small kid home, so like going in the residence for months around
the world.
Yes, it's not good for me. So in this residence, we had the chance that I could stay home overnight, and then I was just working daytime in the residence. Yeah, and during the driving back to home, it was always good time to like process the day, what have we been doing, and then I had the chance to pick up the things if we needed something from Rovaniemi.
Yeah, because it's about 1 hour.
Yeah, drive.
Yeah. And the residency was in Ranua, a small town near here, about 4,000 or 5,000 inhabitants.
Yeah,
I think.
And I have been working there earlier
before.
Yeah, and that was as well one reason why because I have been working there in Niittyvilla. I think 6 years, but mostly it has been like workshops, approximately 20 meetings in year or something like that. But it's always that I'm popping up there and being there just for 1.5 hours probably. And when I have been doing evaluation about my work, I've been thinking like, what would it be to stay there a little bit longer? How would it feel? Like, could I get a little bit deeper, touch with the people? And then because I'm doing work as well in the group, my motivation was to get to know individually those people.
So what kind of place is Niittyvilla where we had the residency?
It's a small unit. There is I think about 20 people in that unit, and they are working there from 9 to 3 o'clock.
Yeah, Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday, and it's variation. People could stay there like 2 days, or someone is 5 days, and it's a unit for young adults and adults with learning disabilities. Yeah, so that is the place, and there is 3 staff members in that unit. Really nice place. They just moved in when we started residency. They had another location before that, so it was brand new place as well, and that was one interesting point to do that residence from the fresh start in a new place.
But how was it to plan the residency with the Niittyvilla? Did you meet with the staff? And how did you start to plan what will happen?
Well, we had the workshop in, I think it's March.
Maybe May.
May, yeah.
3 or 4 months before.
Earlier. Yeah, with
before
the stuff. Just with the stuff. And I kept this kind of well-being, work well-being workshop with the stuff. And during that workshop, we were talking a lot about their goals in their work and what would they want to see that their place would be in the future, and what kind of needs they have, and what kind of fears and everything. And from that ground, I could get some information, like what would they like to have and what are their ideas about their future. And I could put something ideas as well, like what would it be like that, and what smelling, what is going on.
That's great. So you did a little bit of spying work before.
And it was really good. It was really good because then I knew what they wanted, and I could take some parts from there in our residence work
in the art. Yes. So you planned with the staff before, and then you were ready in August. At the end of the summer 2019, you were ready to start working with the group.
We have been planning with Eeva-Leena. We met in Sweden once earlier, and then we were in contact with mobile phone, calling and planning what would be the main idea in our project.
Yeah. What kind of things did you do? Like what fields of art? You are from theater, and Eeva-Leena is visual artist.
Yes.
And how do you combine it?
Because we were talking about that are we doing just like separately to separate things in there? But we wanted to mix our knowledge.
Yes.
And our life experiences.
Yes.
So basically we worked a lot, and our materials, we had natural materials like birch and recycled fabrics, because the stuff, when I had their workshop, they said that we would like to have something outside
in the yard,
because it was quite plain and boring, and they're thinking that it would be nice to have something there. So that kind of materials we had, and then painting, and then me, because that's not so familiar for me, this kind of natural art, or is it natural art field?
Working with natural materials.
Yes. So I choose to do some recordings. I bought recording and doing some sound art with the group. Okay. Meanwhile, we were working there.
Okay, so you did a kind of play or interview, or what?
It was more like interviewing. Yeah, because as we were talking about our teams, we were thinking that it is important to work together with working hands, and meanwhile we are working, we can discuss, and we can get deeper for person to person and tell about our lives stories. Yes. And one team was that everyone can, and together we can. But the biggest team we had, it was about me. About each
individual.
Yes.
Because you have been working in group before, and now you want to get everyone visible and find out about them as a person, and really give attention to each individual.
Yes. And we were thinking about the questions like, who am I? What is beautiful for me? What are my dreams? What are my hopes? Like that kind of questions. Yes.
Yeah.
And there are some pictures you can see during the.
Yeah. And it was like end of summer, start of autumn, but it was, you could be outdoors and build the artworks there.
Yes. And there are some pictures of that, our process as a whole. It's coming now.
So here, what are you doing? There's one picture of like handicraft with birch.
Yes.
Making an installation.
And there is some like picture installation about their own, like what they are good in and what kind of things they like and hope in their life. So it was full of work. Actually, at first we were planning that we had like 1.5 hour workshop in every day
for 2 weeks.
But in the end it turned out like all the people were working all the time. Working hands everywhere, and people, it was really good weather all the time during those 2 weeks, so we were outside, we were working, we were talking, we were drinking coffee outside, and then meanwhile I took those people individually inside and I was doing my like with the recorder. So
there was an interview, there was an installation.
Yes.
There was a big drawing that you drew everybody's shape and combined it into one person. What else? And then there was this. Maybe it's in the later slide, but then everybody's this life story or the dream or a memory.
Yeah,
that kind of
it was
installation.
kind of what I did. It was this interviewing, and it was kind of. I don't know if you have, but in our childhood, we had this kind of books that you ask from your friends, like what is your favorite color or favorite food, and I did that kind of thing with the sound. So it was kind of
questions from each of your friends, and you have a book, and then you can read it later and find out everything about your friends.
But now it was with the sound. So
and what is interesting is that we didn't define any end result for this tryout. We discussed it before that, okay, should we say what kind of artwork we have to have? Do we have to have something to show at the end of the residency? But then we decided that it was not in the contract. It was just the most important thing that the artists are in residence in this place, and they work with the group and really give them time, and we have art present every day, and there might be an artwork at the end or not. And what happened here was that they did like this group and these 2 artists and the 3 staff members like filled the whole yard of Niittyvilla with all kinds of things, and really intense.
Yeah, later we have the pictures of our end results.
Yes.
But then during the process, we have here some feedback that we got the participants. They really enjoyed the work, and it was so pleased to because I knew those people earlier, but it was so pleased to see that how much stronger like bond they had with each other during that process, and how kind of proud they were that they could do, and they were doing together big things. And then we had the opening exhibition, and they were so proud that we did this.
Yes,
this is our work, and it was really, really nice to see. And as well for me, because like I've been working with the group, I got so nice information and talking times with each person, like face to face.
Yes,
it was really, really like touching moments for me to hear some really, really new life stories of the people. Yeah.
So even if you were there many years,
yes,
you can really get to know the person and
new things.
And I bet they got to know you too. You made friends.
Yes.
Even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
the participants were they interviewed like during this process.
Yes.
We gathered the feedback, or you artists collected the feedback, and
it was me actually who I had this recorder, because they were used with this recorder. So after the process, I went there and to interviewing.
Yes.
How was it? How did it feel, this process? Was it good? And like generally having some thoughts.
Yes. Let's go to the next slide. I think we have another one of. No. The feedback was there. So how did this residency end? You worked 2 weeks and spread out and and did everything. And after the 2 weeks, what then? How can you end this kind of process?
Well, we had the exhibition. It was wanting what the staff wanted as well, like opening the place for like people in the city.
Town,
Because normally they are quite much like working just by themselves and meeting their like
just the staff and always the same group. So they wanted that everybody in town can participate and visit and
come and
get to know each other.
So then we decided that there was this Night of the Arts in Ranua. So our goal was there.
Yes.
Yeah, and it happened. We had the first night opening ceremony in Ranua in August. And no, it was actually in September. Yeah. And it was really, really nice time. There was a lot of people coming and seeing what we have been doing, and as well our people. They were kind of guides there, showing what they have been doing, and yeah.
Yeah, and we did everything as in normal art exhibition.
Yeah.
We sent a press release before and invited or tried to invite people from radio station or a regional newspaper, and so it was public like that.
Yeah. And we had quite much people. I don't. We probably have been counted, but it's 1 year ago, so I don't remember exactly how many like visitors we had. But yeah, here is some pictures from the exhibition
opening.
Yeah, this is the field.
Yeah, this is the Niittyvilla place used to be in like a 60s or 70s building.
Yeah,
and just last year they moved to another building, and like an old school, maybe 100 years old building, very near the city center in Ranua, and they are sharing the same house with how do you call it? Like an education center, like open education center.
Yeah.
So there is also local people coming to take a course, language course or handicrafts.
Yeah, and sometimes that was the only problem we had. Like when we were spread all over, then we find out that on the evening there is coming some course, and then we had to clean. But otherwise, the place was perfect. There was 2 big separate rooms that we could work inside if the weather was horrible.
Yes, and there would also have been a traditional residency, like a small room for the visiting artist upstairs, but I think it was rented out to some exchange students. Yeah. So our visiting artist stayed in a bed and breakfast the whole time, the 2 weeks. So this is the painting that includes or drawing that includes everybody. And
yes. And touching, very important thing, and it was I remember especially one girl to who it was really big step to be so close to someone else and let someone to come quite near to you and draw the lines.
So you were like, everybody was lying on the floor on a paper, and then you would drawing around.
Yeah.
But you managed.
Yes.
She managed.
And we did 2 like that kind of big huge pictures. And actually the Ranua boss of that social services, she was planning to have those pictures in their new social service house. Probably, but she was really keen.
Yeah. Did they also color it? They probably colored all this.
Yes. And here is some bird shelters.
Yes.
We're talking about the like your own space and what kind of places are important for you. So this is the kind of installation for that. And there is some and the next picture.
This is like a really interesting installation because it's like more than it seems.
Yes, it is. Well, it started with the recordings that I do, and like things that I see during those 2 weeks, and from that material I made 1 box to everyone, and that box represents like their own maybe dreams or personality, what I saw from them. And there is 1 box for everyone, like that one box with the
blue bucket.
Blue bucket. And the story behind that is that one guy was telling me the story that when he was really little kid, he almost get drowned. Yes, but then his mother like
rescued.
Yes, and it was really touching story. So
it's there. And
yeah.
What about the yellow house?
Oh, I have to think about the yellow house. Yeah, it was one girl's dream about having own house. And she was talking about that a lot, at what kind of furnitures she would had, and what kind of car she would had, and what kind of husband she would had. Yes. And then there is one as well that was interesting, that there is a bus station mark,
bus stop.
One guy told that biggest dream is to become a bus driver. And that was really nice, because after I did this, and I have there as well the staff's boxes as well. After it was ready, we gathered with the staff, and they tried to guess that which one belongs to who of their clients. And that was really interesting, because some of the stories they had never heard before. Some of the dreams they have never heard before. Even though they have been working with one guy, they have been working like 30 years or something, but they had never heard that dream was to become a bus driver. So it's great.
So it was important that the artist was there, and you use art methods and pedagogical methods, art education, and really are there and give them time and think outside of the normal schedule. And
because during the normal time, I would never have chance to ask that kind of questions and to be and to drink coffee and just like being with them, really. And here
you have done photography.
Yes.
Also
during this presentation, those pictures that you have seen,
like as the background picture,
yes, they have been taken by their residents,
the participants, the
group. It was background. Those pictures is a question, what is beautiful to me. So this it was kind of a picture exhibition on the one wall.
So did you go with everybody, or
yes,
Eeva-Leena?
I did go with everybody.
And you took a camera
and this, what is this, suurennuslasi?
Magnifying glass.
Yes.
So you can see small things.
And we tried to find small beautiful details and try to see this like their yard in a different perspective and find beautiful things.
Oh wow. And at some point you had time to develop the photos.
Yes.
So wow.
And here is some more pictures with the big, this kind of rock
or carpet.
Yeah, it was nice that they were doing that together and really like getting in it and spending a lot of hours with that rock.
And that was also like recycled material.
Yes. Wow. Yes. And here is some more pictures.
And a small part of Eeva-Leena
yes.
on the side of this picture.
Yeah. That kind of pictures we had.
So this sounds like a big big thunderstorm.
It was
happening
2 weeks and in the evenings with Eeva-Leena we were like and after 2 weeks we're like, what did we do? What happened during the last 2 weeks? We were so intense with just doing and just getting inspired. And it was funny that when we were doing our things, then the staff get inspired as well. They were doing more extra stuff. Oh, I want to do on the wall, this kind of thing. So we got more and more material for that exhibition night.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's as well, as you can see the feedback from the staff, you can hear that they said that new tools and encouraging them to like do as well.
New things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine because in the social and healthcare sector, you have the schedule and you have your task and you have to do everything on point and you have to make everything secure and safe.
Yeah.
So imagining that two artists come and mix everything up can be very dangerous and intimidating. But the staff,
well, they have been used kind of because I have been there earlier. It was much easier for us as well to do.
With the familiar person.
Yeah, but with the staff, I really got as well like much more bigger knowledge of them, like personality.
Oh, you got to know the staff.
Yeah. Because earlier, one member of the staff was a little bit like
reserved.
Yes, like. Theater is not my field at all. She didn't like to jump in anything like crazy things that I did. But with the Eeva-Leena's handcraft things, she got really, really like in deep and tried to do new things. And I could try this and I could develop maybe more. Yeah. And it was nice to see.
So it was definitely like a bonus that you have artists from different fields. It's not always theater activity.
No.
You added somebody who has handicrafts and visual art.
Yes.
So it was very good. And they were quite easy to work with also from the producer's side. That we had some phone calls and some emails and we all read through the contract and it was very, very easy to work with them, and they were really, really interested to do it. And I think all the feedback was positive.
Yeah.
But we also worked. You have to remember that we started like many months before all of this.
And I have been working there before, so it was a really big advance for.
And the artist started in the summer 2 or 3 months before. But of course, you never know what happens when you go to the place. Yeah. But one of my favorite feedback was that the staff said that it was not too difficult or abstract because it's sometimes hard to introduce the concepts of artist in residence in coming to a normal, so-called normal workplace or traditional office or whatever. And I'm glad that they saw that art is something for everyone and it's not difficult or hard, or it's something that everybody can do and you can participate as you want, that there was something for everybody to do. And I think you kept it so easy to participate that you can have coffee outside and sit and look at the artist. Nobody is forced to participate.
No. And some people had bad day and said like, I don't want to do anything today. Well, okay, it's good. You can sit there and watch. And like after half an hour, they are coming back to do the work because they see that people have fun and they are doing together. So it's
And they say also here, I was a bit nervous about the visiting artist because they didn't know Eeva-Leena from before, but she just walked in and became a part of the gang. And they wish it would have lasted longer. But I think one of the main things for planning residency like this is that it's a really long process. And one very important point was that they knew the artist from before, that the artist had been there many years, and it was easier to trust somebody familiar.
And even though you don't have that kind of like long period before, it could be much easier to have some kind of workshop with the staff before you start the process with the whole unit.
Yes,
it's really, really important.
Yes. Yeah. So now it's been now 1 year after the residency.
Yes.
And what has happened
after that?
That?
Well, I have been continuing work with the Niittyvilla residents. Yes, but now it has been like once a week or once in a twice a week. I don't know how you say it. once in every another week.
Yeah.
Workshops. And after this, I did this recording stuff, and they get to know the recordings. We were doing plays, like sound plays with them. Yeah, it has been my last work with that group.
With this group.
Yeah, really great place.
Yeah, and also we continued with the town of Ranua and the municipality of Ranua. This summer you have been doing another outdoor installation to a service unit close by there with another artist, Mia Kettunen.
Yeah.
And for this we are also doing with national funding. That last autumn when you were still in residency, I was at the office and writing applications because we knew we want to continue in 2020.
And we had really good, because we did the feedback and evaluation very well with this project. We had really good material for applications. Yes.
So we were able to
a lot.
We were able to say that this is useful and these are the methods, and we are continuing at Piste work with the social and healthcare sector, and we have this year three new partners who we are working with. Of course, we have the Corona challenge like everybody, but still it has been like a great process that is still continuing. And now we are planning next year's.
And it was funny because from the feedback, there was, I didn't remember that, but there was a line that I wish from the staff's feedback, I wish this kind of work would be in some another unit in Ranua. And now we have it.
Yes.
It's another unit. There's some pictures. Laura can show those.
Yeah, what we are doing now. There is actually an opening of this new installation in 3 days.
In Friday. Yeah, so I'm working with that all the time. So the thing is, because we couldn't do this kind of normal workshops, so we have been working out a lot.
Yes.
And we have had workshops, and our theme and goal is
Garden of senses. Yes. There is something to touch and see and hear and look and everything.
Inspired by the workshops.
Yes. Yeah. So that was our trial. It went really well. And we really want to thank the project partners for these years, and we hope to see you in the next adventures and continue this work in wherever we can. And we want to thank our visiting artist, Eeva-Leena Väätäjä, and her greeting is on Facebook. She's showing her atelier and her lovely garden, so you can get to know her as well. And of course, thanks to all the funding organizations, because we couldn't have spent as much time and resources without any support. And of course, everybody here at Piste Kollektiivi who work with us every day. I think we can go to questions now, comments. I'm sure it was a lot of information, so ask us what we didn't tell or what was unclear. We will put headphones so we can listen to you.
Thank you, Laura and Hanna-Leena, for the presentation. Thank you, Milka. I would like to invite everyone to write questions into the chat box, but since we are quite small group of people, you can also maybe then unmute yourself, switch on the video if you want, and ask the question. While we are waiting for questions, I have some myself that I would like to ask you. Well, the first is about the Niittyvilla people. What kind of conditions do they have at Niittyvilla? And and the second part of the question would be, did you have any challenges or maybe mistakes that you understood while working that you like to share?
The people in Niittyvilla, I think they live independently, or they have some support or extra help to the home, but their condition is such that they can live quite independently with extra help. There's you can say maybe there is some restrictions with movement. Some of them have.
Yes, and like well, we were talking a lot about because the theme was quite deep, like how much is okay to ask and how much is okay to dream, because there is that kind of dreams that they can never achieve. Is it okay? We had with the staff big questions and talkings with that, is it like encouraging them to achieve the dreams that they can never have? Is it okay or is it not okay? That was one thing that comes now into my mind.
Yes, and maybe some have some challenges with speaking.
Yes, they have
expressing yourself.
Yes, and it was funny because Eeva-Leena actually she noticed that with some people singing was the way to express their feelings. So, for example, I had one boy who couldn't like verbally expressing, but he did that with the lyrics and with the songs, and one did with the drawings and we use that kind of material as well. But most of the people they were really like able to do almost everything, but few that needed to think differently or like wondering what kind of things we could use to get some stories or their thoughts out.
And what about this? You asked about the mistakes and challenges.
Not much that kind of, because it helped a lot that I knew the people earlier or the group earlier. So I could like say to Eeva-Leena that maybe avoid this thing, because if you are starting to talk about that subject, it's gonna never end or something like that. It helped a lot, but it was easier because I had the knowledge earlier from the group, so we didn't have that many. The biggest problem was the Eeva-Leena's residence, like place where
she could stay. I think so.
Thank you. Mara, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. It was very, very interesting, and I'm very glad to hear the different experiences, and it sounded really nice. But we heard a lot about what was the benefits for the residents and what was the benefits for the staff. But could you tell, what did you gain from this experience as the artist, or what did it add to your artistic language or your work as well as it is?
Yeah, I think for me, this sound machine, it was the first time that I used it. And for me, that was really eye-opening. To use that, and I have used it more like as a material. It was for me, it was really nice. But then as a whole, it was interesting to see that having and giving time, you get much more. You don't have to have all the time like, okay, we do the next rehearsal, but just give time, drink coffee. Normally you could get more information during just like doing nothing and just being. It was for me that kind of bling. And as well that like sometimes it's good to have this kind of a deeper period.
And Eeva-Leena said, and she says in her video greeting, that she has been in many art projects, but this was the most interesting for her and the best one. Yeah.
Thank you. Mana, you have another question?
To like develop a little bit, do you think that this experience kind of influence your work? Do you think that in your future works you will
Definitely
to new things that you created during this as a material?
Yes, I have and I will. And now during the corona, what I got from them there has like getting into new form in the work that I'm doing at the moment with the sound and this kind of internet connected workshops that we have been doing. So yes, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you. Milka, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question actually to Hanna-Leena. Could you tell about a little bit more about your collaboration with Eeva-Leena, in the sense that how would this residence experience have been if it was only you who was working there versus how it was now that you had a partner who was not familiar with the unit?
Yeah, it would have been totally different because she gave the extra material and the extra spice. Because normally, for me, it's really important to have the partner to work. You can discuss and you can create something totally new forms, like putting two fields together. For me, it has been always interesting to work with another artist, because I think through that you get much more deeper things and you get much more things from yourself, like someone is pushing you to do it better or to have another angle for this work. And for me it was really important to, like, again, with the working hands you get more material, and through the working together you have another kind of way to know people. I don't know, I cannot explain it.
I think we have to take a small pause to change our battery, but we will keep this connection open. So we shut the camera for one moment, but we will discuss with you here. Yeah, but we are here. Just the picture will be disappearing.
Meanwhile, I would like to read a comment from Dinah. She says, "Thank you so much for sharing your valuable experience. I find your presentation both touching and informative."
Thank you.
Milka, you had a question?
No, actually, I was just going to, while we wait for Laura and Hanna-Leena to get back, I was going to elaborate on the accommodation bit that they mentioned with the visiting artist. We had in the beginning two options for the visiting artist. Either she could stay in Rovaniemi and commute just like Hanna-Leena did, or she could stay at the unit, because in the school building you also had some accommodation spaces. But as Laura mentioned, some of the accommodation spaces were already taken by someone else. But we still found that there was a place where she could have stayed, inside the unit, but it turned out to be not a really, it was not good. Let's just put it that way. And so we were in a bit of a situation, like just before, like when the residency was starting, that we have an artist who is there in place, but the accommodation that she has is not, working out. So we had to kind of find an alternative solution, which was to like book a place at the bed and breakfast, as Laura mentioned, close by. But this turned out to be quite a good solution in the end, because I remember Eeva-Leena saying that it was really important for her in the end, after a really intense workday,
Yes,
just to have a short walk to go outside from the unit and have her own space and some peace and quiet. So yeah, that was
for me. That was the car.
Exactly.
Driving back home.
Yeah, Hanna-Leena had a car ride to Rovaniemi, and Eeva-Leena had a short walk across the road to the bed and breakfast to reflect and to, get some time out.
One thing that we talk with Eeva-Leena and what we would have more would be the publicity, like no press, no radio, nothing came, and it was a bit sad because it was sad for us, but as well for our partners. Yeah, that was the one thing. But I don't know how to. Well, we did everything, but but we cannot change the reporter's head. Yeah.
Yes. And one thing that we should have reserved more time was also at the end of the residency. We should have had still working hours and longer contracts to finalize all the materials. We did some of it, but then we had already new things and new projects. And so also at the end, I would now reserve two times more time. But I think that now this conference is a good start, and it's still not too late to distribute the results, and we have a good plan with the project group and share all the knowledge that we have. But that is
and of
important.
course, if we would have time, it would be nicer to be longer, or we could have money to do that longer. And like 4 weeks, it could have been opening totally new world. We were quite in a hurry to do the things because we had so many ideas and we got so many feedback and new ideas. So it was a bit rush this 2 week.
Yes.
So time, it is. You never have enough time, but it's just how it is. Yeah.
Milka, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I actually would like to add two things now, or comment on two things. First, this 2 week period, which was very exceptional. I think it's not, nobody plans a residency for just 2 weeks, but this is how it ended up being, and it's really amazing what these two artists were able to accomplish with the staff and the customers of the unit, I think. But why it ended up being 2 weeks, I think we had, of course, money is always an issue, but we had the option of doing a little less of an intense residence in the period of 1 month. But then I think we reasoned it so that because the Ranua Art Night took place in the middle of September, early September, something like this, we decided that it would be a great finale for the residency, to have the works done and to be able to present everything in this public event, because one of the aims that we had for the residency was to make the unit more better known for the surrounding community in Ranua, because they had just moved to the new place, and the people living in the area did not know who goes to the unit, what do they do there, and this was the perfect way to kind of show to the people of Ranua that this is who we are and this is what we do. So that's why we decided that residency will end officially and have a great finale at the Ranua Art Night. So it was exceptionally short and intense, and if it had not been for the relationship that Hanna-Leena had with the unit before, as you already mentioned, it would 2 weeks would not have worked, because it takes so much time to get used to get to know to each other and to get to know the place and all the unspoken rules that you have in the place. Like you said, that this would never work if you did not have a relationship with the place beforehand. Another comment on the media, which is it is a pity that there was no more, very little media interest in Finland. We did, however, get a couple of stories published in Sweden, which was a very nice thing. In some local smaller papers in the north of Sweden, we had a couple of stories of the residents, and both artists got some visibility there. But yeah, I totally agree with Laura that we should have had more time in the end to communicate more about the results and hopefully get some more media publicity.
Thank you. I have another question. Maybe it lines up a little bit of the things that you said previously, but if you would have an unlimited budget, there would be something different that you would do? Well, you mentioned the time, you would make it longer, but maybe there's something else that you would consider.
Yeah, time gives you a lot more, I think. But with this intense, we could not be able to do like longer. Then we would have more time for our own process, and I don't know, but probably it could have given totally new things as well. It's hard to say. Yeah.
I think I would just have more people, like a bigger team with specific tasks, and just focusing on this residency, because we were doing it and at the same time doing all our other work that we have. Yes. So that was one of the reasons also why it was so short, that we had many people's schedules and the unit schedule and everything. Yes, I would definitely clear my calendar and make sure that the organization running the residency and the coordinators have nothing else to do, so we could just produce.
Yes, and
produce
I
this
probably,
one.
I probably would have bought some like a specific person who can do like clipping the sound things and that kind of things, like making it even more like bigger or. Yeah,
like I'm editor or media artist, like technician.
Yeah, yes, definitely, yes. Yeah.
Here is your ear back.
Pablo, do you want to ask?
Yes.
Please go for it.
Yes. Hello everybody. Thanks a lot for your presentation. It was a beautiful project, and you can see it was a real experience, and everybody enjoyed a lot. And you can feel from the pictures and from the presentation, like you know the people beforehand, and you have been working there, and also maybe the language helps a lot when you can communicate the same language, and was super nice, the idea, and congratulations for the project. It was beautiful. And my question is more for Piste. You are the founder, the institution who created the project about the well-being residents, and after try to develop with different institutions in everywhere. And my question is, in the north of the Nordic countries, you have more problems to find artists with these specific disciplines who are working in the well-being and healthy through the arts. Do you think to work in the future with local migrant artists? If you don't found in your areas because of the population, do you think it's possible to open and to be more inclusive and maybe integrate local migrant artists who can develop their works, make something transformative like healthy or well-being, but also like to transform this mentality or this ideology that we have in our days about the immigration? like the positive point of the immigration? Is in your plans for the future to promote the well-being, not only physical or mental, also more related with the empowerment? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. That's like a very, very good question, like important point of view. I think that Piste is a collective exactly because we share the values of coming together and overcoming borders of all kinds, physical and mental, and we are a collective of 20 artists from different art fields. We have circus, video, dance, theater, puppet theater. So we are not limited to any art field, and it's very, I think, one of the core values that everybody who's in the collective wants to bring art everywhere, and the artworks and the art is not something for a specific audience, but it's an experience for everybody. And what we are working with is exactly this opening of our collective and of our city and the local area to a wider network. And I think we have, in the tryout, it was the most efficient to test it with this team mainly and familiar people. But we were already able to invite one artist and hire a new coordinator. And this year we are inviting more people to our team. And I think for this year, 2020, we had plans that we would travel and invite people and meet people and work with other artists, but we all know what happened. So maybe next year or in another way. But yes, I would say that is definitely one thing that we want to, especially after these lockdowns and shutdowns and quarantines. I think we are all yearning to meet and make projects and things with everybody who shares the same values and ideas. And the form of art doesn't matter. We can always come up and with something exciting and surprising and yes, I hope I could answer your question, but you can ask again if I missed something.
Yes, thanks a lot. Well, it's not an easy question. It's really complicated question. It's not only for your institutions. It's for all the institutions in the Baltics and the Nordics. When we talk about diversity, inclusion, and also to bring contemporary art in the rural areas when usually they don't have. We in our cultural institution is quite normal, all of you and us, to keep in contact with international people, no, speaking English. But when we are working with people with special needs, we thought they are less, or they don't gonna understand, or they don't have the right to feel how is artist, no, the experience to do art or contemporary art. And in the other point is more related with the contemporary problems about the races, about more in the rural areas, more in the north of the Baltic countries, in the Nordic countries, they don't have contact in the everyday life with immigrants, or the contact what they have usually is not really positive. Also in the media, in the news, is really negative. And I think it's a really important point in your program, in the well-being think tank. Like, it's a way to integrate the well-being in the society. It's like everybody gonna understand, okay, we were doing dance, theater, circus with a girl from our country, but she looks different, she thinks different, she speaks with different accent. They are different, and that is super important. And of course, it's really complicated because usually in the cultural institution, we are part of the well-being residence, all the people are from quite similar, no? All the people are this kind of privilege to work as a producers, as collaborators, coordinators. You speak the same language, you are from the same country, and that is one of the things, like maybe we need to think all for the future. Is to have more respect for people with special needs and to speak with them. It's not about the same values, it's the different values. That is you was talking about the same values, and I think how to open to different people, not different disciplines, it's different people. But anyway, it was a beautiful project. I love it. It was super nice. In 2 weeks, it's amazing. I think both of you were super tired in 2 weeks after all these things. And nothing else. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very important point that we have been thinking a lot how to get their art in, because now that we did the exhibition, it is there, but how to get those things. For example, my place that they have done, this audio place, how could we get some place where to present those? It's good. Yeah.
And I think one of the goals of this project is to also, because you have to, preparing this project, you have to speak to a lot of people, and our next goal is to speak at so-called higher level, that we don't just talk with social and healthcare or culture field, but we will try to speak with, for example, everybody in municipality. And this is one way to start with one project and share our views with people with different values and different backgrounds. And it's one concrete way to start and get to know each other. And I think after this project, even if you are in like a city mayor, you would see, okay, this is something that we should do, and this is how we can open our town and our city and our institution.
Because we have been talking about that they are really isolated, because the places where I normally work, I don't work that much in Rovaniemi. I normally work in the Lapland, in the smaller places. They are so isolated that now during the corona crisis and this, we have tried to do more digital stuff. Maybe that could help them to come from the isolation, away from the isolation. I don't know, but it's one way as well. Yeah. It's always good to think that. Yeah.